Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents The Corner Bookstore, hosted by Red O'Loughlin. Step into a world where every story inspires. These pages come to life through the voices of authors from around the globe. Written by our global community of TV show hosts and best-selling authors, these works span genres, generations, and geographies, united by the power of storytelling. Discover your next favorite book and meet the minds behind the work. Thursdays, only on USA Global TV and Radio.
How do you grieve? It's something that almost every one of us is going to be expected at some point in time in our life if we haven't had several sessions already. I'm honored today to have Dr. Jerry L. Woodbridge, also a host on the USA Global TV and Radio Network, as my guest today on the Corner Bookstore. Dr. Jerry, please join me.
Hi, Red.
Howdy. I was honored to have Dr. Jerry as a guest on my Wise One show a little while back, and as an author, she's certainly entitled to be on this show too, and she's an author of many books, one of which just came out literally last week for all practical purposes, less than 2 weeks ago. And so, but today we're here as an author, and we're going to look at that area. So I know, looking at your website, very nice website, by the way, that your first experience was as a kid writing about a dolphin. Tell us about that.
Yes, I remember in second grade that we were supposed to write a story, and I love dolphins. I love the beach. So I wrote about a little girl who became friends with a dolphin, and the dolphin's name was Jamie the dolphin. I wish I could still find that story because I turned it into a children's book.
Okay, and so you continue your writing, and then in high school you became the editor of the high school newspaper?
I did. So I was writing newspapers, the junior and senior, sophomore and junior year. And then Dr. Osborne decided I would be the editor. And so I think it's because he knew I would do the work.
And so your writing has been forever and ever and ever. And obviously, throughout college and dissertation and all that, writing has not been a foreign thing to you. So, but writing a story, writing a dissertation, and writing a book are three entirely different things. So you decided to become an author after decades of being an educator. Why?
Well, I had an experience, a real life experience in 2004 where I suddenly lost my husband due to colon cancer, and that's a silent killer. So there was really no warning. We got a diagnosis the day before he died, and I had a 12-year-old son and a 16-year-old daughter. So I suddenly became a widow, suddenly became a single parent, trying to do it all. And, you know, I knew the first year to keep everything the same, as much as possible, for stability for my children. But year two, I needed to have some income, so I took a job. I was living in Florida at the time, Jacksonville, Florida, and I took a job in Marion, Indiana. And so, second year, it was new job, new home, new everything. And but in year three, it's not that I didn't grieve in year one and two, but year three, that's when grief really raised its ugly head and said, "You're not ignoring me anymore." And I began to journal. So I really had no idea what I was going to do with all that journaling, but I was suddenly, well, not suddenly, but I was invited. So I think it was a God thing, to go to a Christian conference. The university was sponsoring so many faculty members to go, and I got a last minute invitation. Still had no idea what I was going to do, so I grabbed my journals and I went down to the conference.
And you had such a personal experience with the loss because, again, we eventually lose our parents. Sometimes we lose a sibling. Most of the time, we lose a best friend or somebody that we know, and that also. And sometimes it's we know because it's just been extended out for years and they finally passed. And sometimes, like your husband, and again, that has to be absolutely a tremendous trauma. The next day, boom. But that happens also in automobile wrecks and other things. So that's something that's super hard to wrap your brain around, even on a nice, calm day. But so, getting back to your writing, you journaled, and then you decide, okay, you're going to write a book. And the writing is a little different. So, how did you approach that? You have all these journal articles, but you actually started writing a book for other people.
I did. My first book was actually from a widow's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So it was called Trading My Sorrows for the Joy of the Lord. And I interviewed other widows and widowers that I had met either through Widows Fellowship or through ballroom dancing. So as a result of that, I compiled everything together. I kind of made it like a widowers devotional, because I had a lot of questions. Yeah, it's the middle one with the red heart there and the little cracked heart. And so that was my first attempt at writing in 2010 to actually publish. So I self-published that one. And then it was like 15 years later. I mean, actually, the inspiration occurred before that. But I really wanted to do a TEDx speech where I would talk about how ballroom dancing helped me move through grief. And the TEDx people were very business minded. They like, well, what are you, basically, what are you selling? And so I told them, well, I'm a teacher. And so I help children that have been in my classroom because I understand what grief looks like. And I also understand that sometimes grief work has to take the place over math work. And that's what's really important. So I could encourage them through the process. So I had a fifth grade boy in my classroom, and he wrote about his dad that he had lost. And the assignment was a Tropicana speech that we would, as a school and as a classroom, we would have different students conduct their speech, and then they could go on to the next levels. Well, I knew this speech about his dad was going to be very hard for him to get through, and it was, but it was very important that he do it. It was part of his healing process. So when he did this speech, we were all kind of like, we were all teared up and, emotional. And we could empathize with him, but it was a very important part of his healing work.
It's interesting. my granddaughter just started her first day of teaching yesterday. So I applaud you for your 40 years of teaching. It's just an amazing accomplishment. But recognizing that as part of the healing process, I think is also an amazing thing. Sometimes we don't see that in other people. Yeah, there's something wrong with them, but we don't recognize it or take the time to find out. So congratulations to you on that.
Thank you.
Okay, so you wrote the book. Editing. Was the editing anything different than you've done any time else in your writing career?
Well, first of all, writing fiction was something different than I'd ever done. And it took me a while. I did some research to find out what kind of books were out there that actually talked about grief. And most of them were for the younger group under the age of 8. And they were picture books, and they might talk about pets and grandparents and, other kind of losses. But I didn't find anything that was a fiction book that was written from a child's point of view and took them through the whole grief journey. So, like Bridge to Terabithia mentions the loss of a friend. It might show a little grief of the character, but it didn't take that character through the grief journey. So, it's an excellent book. But this first book, Joy Overcame Sorrow, is the first book of the Loved Lost One series. And so this is about a 10-year-old girl named Joy who finds out that her dad has died as a result of being in a car accident on his way to work. So we take Joy, we take her through chapter 1 where she's carefree, everything in life is wonderful. She's got a new best friend. They're able to take a solo bike ride to the park. And then she drives home and she sees a police car outside her house. So we take her through chapter 2, through bad news, and we take her throughout her whole, well, not her whole grief journey, but throughout the first year. And then at the end, she says, I know I'm not done grieving any more than I'm done loving my dad. But peace and contentment and even joy, I'm starting to feel those, and sorrow is fading. So she recognizes, that she's going to be okay from this point, even though she's going to have those moments of grief, and that she's still going to have to live the rest of her life without her dad, but that she's going to be okay. And so that was the first book.
Okay, so you mentioned this is a series, and the second book was just published literally 2 weeks ago, Intersections.
Yes, The Intersection is about 2 twin boys that are riding their bikes and they're racing to the Wawa. Cade Marshall is the oldest twin, and he's a daredevil. So when they're at the intersection, he sees a gap in cars, moving cars. So he decides to go for it because he wants to get to the Wawa convenience store before his brother. And Colton is the more cautious twin. So he's still there waiting at the light, and he watches the accident unfold and sees his brother on the asphalt after being hit by a car. So Colton deals with grief, but he also has trauma that he's dealing with. He also has survivor's guilt. Is like, why didn't I do something about this? What could I have done? Could I grabbed his backpack? Could I, so he's dealing with all those kinds of grief. And then in chapter 3, Cade has to have brain surgery because there's swelling in the brain, and he passes away unexpectedly. So now Colton has to deal with his grief. How do I become a me when we've always been a we, as a twin? And it talks about the special relationship that twins have.
Mm-hmm.
So we find near the end of the book that, through the support of his family, support of a pastor, support of a counselor, Dr. Wallace, and some good friends like Ava and Marcus, that he's able to get through that first year again. And, then we kind of end this story. I don't want to do a spoiler alert, but I think this is just so cool. The book is called The Intersection because of the place, the location of the accident. But after writing it, I found that there's at least 15 different intersections of different kinds of emotion. Um, he's dealing with life and death situation. He's dealing with um, going from being a child to adolescence. He's dealing with a lot of different types of intersection. The grief is complicated, it's complex, and it's very personal. So we also see in the book that his mom and dad are also grieving, but mom wants to remember both boys and the twins when they have a birthday. And dad is thinking that's going to be too hard on Colton. And Colton is like, no, we need to celebrate not just my birthday, we need to celebrate Cade's birthday as well. So you see all of these complexities um, throughout the book.
Interesting. When did you start marketing your books? From the first book that you wrote to the last book you wrote?
Good question. It's been one of those interesting learning experiences and investment. So probably should have been marketing the first book a lot sooner. I mean, I was off of social media um, for about 3 years just because there was just a lot going on in social media that I didn't appreciate. So when I decided to work with Hope Books on publishing the first book, they really encouraged that I get involved in social media again. So I'd say from probably October 2024 until the book came out in June of 2025. And then the intersection, I've been doing that for months now.
Okay. So what you've learned is the earlier you can start marketing the book, the better off you are. And almost every author, especially brand new authors that come on the show, the standard is I didn't start soon enough. Most of them start after the book is published. But again, the key thing is to get soon. I just finished my book last month. I have another book coming out probably by Christmas, and I'm thinking to myself, I know I have it on my list to market, so I'm thinking maybe I ought to start doing that today, or maybe certainly before the weekend is over. But anyway, do you use AI at all in any of your authoring endeavors?
Um, I mean, maybe just to make sure that I keep the character's point of view. Because I've learned, I think I'm doing it right. And sometimes, as I send it off to beta readers, they'll say, you kind of got out of Colton's point of view. So
Hmm.
I might use it for that, or just grammar things like through Grammarly. I use AI mainly for helping me market, and then I have a friend who's really good with Canva, so she does a lot with Canva. And we're finding out this is just an interesting part of the discussion, Red, is that a lot of people are scrolling past anything that's created by AI. I don't really understand that because I think AI does a fantastic job. It basically has learned who I am and what my books are about, and is able to produce some really impressive graphics.
The next area that I was going to go into is that AI, you mentioned Grammarly, it has about 12 or 13 different AI options in there. I use it for my nonfiction, for citations. I use it for fact checking. I use it for plagiarization checking. I use it for a lot of things. But my
Right.
but I use different AIs for different things. I have one that knows me very well. In fact, we had a wonderful conversation yesterday. It will probably lead to another book. But I use AI a lot. But are you familiar with Notebook, Gemini Notebook?
I No, I'm not.
Okay. It will generate a 60-second video based on any kind of text that you give it. So if you
Okay.
take a chapter of your book, or if you want to write a summary of something, it will generate a marketing video for you. I use that. I'll take a section of my book, copy paste into there, boom, take the next section, copy paste, and I end up with different videos. I could put the same video, same text in there and do it 3 times and get 3 different videos. So it might be something to consider because it's free. You get 3 free
Sure.
videos a day. If you need more than that, they'll, I guess, $20 a month. But that's a good source using AI to do that. I ask my AI, how do I market this thing? And he says, and I get a list of things. Okay, that's nice, but that's not me. How do I market it? Okay.
I have a YouTube channel, and what I've been experimenting with is I use an AI program called Songer.co because I've written poetry. So I'll put in the lyrics of my poetry in Songer.co, and it will create a music video. I'll tell it, okay, I want this to sound like jazz, or I want this to sound um, like a folk song, or you tell it whatever you want it to do, and then it will produce the song. And then I'll take the song, I'll go into another AI program called Auto Tune, and I'll tell it what I want it to do. Basically, I'll upload the song into it, and it'll create a music video.
Interesting.
So,
Well, Dr. Jerry, we're getting to that point in time in the program. I need to take a commercial break. We'll be back in about a minute, minute and a half at most. So when we come back, let's talk more about your series. You have 2 books right now. So I'd like to find out how many more books you plan to write. So that will be right after the break.
thank you.
What if many of the problems we associate with aging are not random? What if there are identifiable causes behind declining energy, chronic disease, and memory problems? We have been told that aging is simply something we must accept, that slowing down is normal, that growing older means growing weaker. But what if that's only part of the story? Why do some people remain active and engaged well into their later years? Why do others struggle with disease, fatigue, and declining health? What is happening beneath the surface? What processes drive aging? In Aging Sucks, researcher, educator, and author Red O'Loughlin explores what researchers have discovered about why we grow older. No medical degree required, no confusing jargon, just clear explanations of what researchers have discovered about the processes that influence aging. You cannot stop aging, but understanding its causes may help you make better decisions about your health, your future, and your quality of life. Because understanding comes before action. Action creates hope. Aging sucks. End the guesswork. There is hope.
Reverend Laughlin here. We're on the corner bookstore with Dr. Jerry Woodbridge, and we're talking about her books primarily on grief. And she mentioned just before the break that her second book, Intersection, was the second in a series. So my next question to her is, how many more books is she planning in the series? So Dr. Jerry, please join me back up here on stage.
All right, that's a good question. I know I'm already writing the third book, and it's going to be about how a family deals with a military loss. And I already have a title, When Heroes Go Home, and The Children Who Tell Us Stories.
Mm-hmm.
So I've actually been interviewing an 11-year-old boy and an 8-year-old girl from the military family, as well as the widow. And this story is going to be interesting because it's going to talk a little bit about chemical exposure, toxic exposure, and how that affects the body with this particular loss. But I really have a heart for children who are trying to navigate grief, which is why I write these books, so that they have a narrative that they can follow. What does a grief journey look like, and as well as relate to a character. So,
Okay. You mentioned a video that you did marketing. How long is the video? Just out of curiosity.
the music videos that I've done,
Mm-hmm.
it is about 3 to 4 minutes.
Okay. Um, maybe we can play the first minute of it just to kind of give the people an idea of the result of your poetry into AI, and now it's on YouTube. So if Dr. Jacqueline has the ability to
Okay.
pull your.
Welcome to What's on Your Faith playlist, where every song tells a story of faith, hope, and God's faithfulness. What's on your faith playlist? Tell us what you hear. The songs that bring you comfort, hope, and cheer. From worship in the morning to praise throughout the night. What's on your faith playlist? Let's shine His light.
Well, that was certainly interesting. That was surprising. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you have any plans to convert any of your books into foreign languages?
Eventually, I do. I've been contacted by some other people that want to really market to the Asian community because whereas, from America, I think we do a really good job with sympathy, but not so much empathy. The Asian market, like for example, in Japan, they have something called a suicide forest. People walk in, they don't come out. And then the family has to deal with grief. So I've often, thought, wow, without children, without having support to navigate their grief, they become adults with unresolved grief. And that can affect them in a lot of different ways as they're growing up, they're going through teenage years, they start experimenting maybe with drugs or alcohol. Um, so I really think it's in our best interest to help children from all over the world to be able to learn how to navigate grief and to have the support systems that they need.
You have a term, I'm not sure it's a mantra or not, but I know that I picked it up in your website, never alone. Uh, Tell us a little bit about that.
I think when children feel like they are alone, they are struggling um, to understand, why am I feeling this way? What can I do about it? I'll give you an example. When my son, he was 12 when his father died, and he started having panic attacks. Now, he did not tell his mother that he was having these panic attacks, or I would have done something about it. He didn't tell me until he was 17, almost 18, because he finally had the language and the understanding that that's what it was. But if I had known, I would understand why he might have started smoking pot. um, because that tends to calm the nervous system, right?
Hmm.
And so I think my son would have had a much more calmer teenage years, but he did what he needed to do. I mean, he figured his own way through grief. He's very strong-willed, and he's now a father of two.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
when I watch him parenting, I see my husband. So he's done great. So I'm very proud of him.
Your cover art. Who does your cover art?
Well, 99 Designs, we had a contest with Hope Books. And when I saw this, I had no idea this is what I wanted. But as soon as I saw this cover, I was like, that's it. Because we have to be careful with like children's faces. So silhouettes are usually better on books when you're talking about these kind of topics. So, and then it's got the butterflies and the dragonfly. Bella is a butterfly girl, and Joy is more of a dragonfly girl. So that one, and then this one, we kind of experimented and did a little bit with AI, but then my friend um, who is my publicist, she said, "Well, we want to keep, we want to keep the butterflies and the dragonflies as part of your brand." So, she does layer by layer until she finally uh, gets what she likes. So I think this is a beautiful cover as well.
Okay, you're speaking. You mentioned, I know you're a public speaker and very inspirational in what you're doing because of the grief aspect of it. But you mentioned something earlier about TEDx. And for authors, speaking is a wonderful opportunity to improve your credibility, to get a wider audience, to get more sales, etc. But a lot of us as speakers, TEDx is kind of one of those top shelf things we'd love to get. So, uh, did you actually give a TEDx talk? Did that ever happen? I don't think that I know whether you did or not.
It has not happened yet.
Oh,
It is on my list to do. So, but anytime you do a TEDx, there's usually a lot of people that are coaching people for TEDx. So there usually, for the most part, is a cost involved unless you're a celebrity.
okay. I did not know that. Uh, I know we had some local ones here in our Houston area, and one of my good friends was kind of helping put that together. But
Right.
that was been a while, and this was before COVID, and so I was unaware there was a cost involved. But that certainly makes sense.
It just depends on who is running the TEDx, I think, because they're working very hard as well, and so I understand why they do that.
Hmm.
Um, so I just went through Robin Dykstra's Christian Speakers Boot Camp, and it was wonderful training, and I just have my hands in so many different things that I'm trying to make it all work, but it's all building part of my brand, I guess, is what I'm learning.
Okay, so being a teacher in college, you automatically have an audience every day, a captive audience. But when you get out into public speaking, slightly different. But your topic on grief, that's something that is, I'm not going to say magnetic, but nearly magnetic because people want answers. They want, experience. They want something.
Right.
Uh, but sometimes you write about, how to garden, how to decorate cakes or whatever. What would you recommend to an author trying to get a speaking gig someplace? What kinds of things would you recommend to that person?
Well, I mean, quite honestly, one of the reasons why I do want to do the speaking is so that I can actually sell books. Because when people know who you are, what your message is, why you're passionate about it, um, I really want to get these books into the hands of children either through school libraries or public libraries, or have grief organizations purchase them because I really think that the narrative can not only help the children who have lost loved ones, but it can help the other children develop empathy as they read these books. I'm hoping eventually that, who knows if one of them will become a movie, but I really think that would be powerful. And I've seen a couple movies that kind of dealt a little bit with grief. Like what was the one with the big monster? Anyway, all of a sudden my brain just is not going to go there. But, it's very powerful to be able to talk about, how a character will navigate grief and bring these up for discussions.
Okay, we're getting toward the end of the program. I want to make
Sure.
sure we talk briefly about your blog and your podcast. So why don't you give us some information on both?
Okay. Well, the I'm going to work on a separate podcast called Love the Lost One series, and we've had some readers that have asked some questions that I'll be working on addressing those questions. But I also have the What is on Your Faith playlist TV show here with USA Global TV that I just started on Tuesday. And I'm very excited
Congratulations.
about that because that's talking about musical moments. What is the music that meets us at those vulnerable moments that encourages and inspires us. So, and then my blog, I try to produce resources for the readers who may be interested in the books. And we talk about the different aspects of the intersection. We talk about, just looking at children's books, what's available out there, what can help children. Because I remember as a parent that I felt very unprepared for this experience. And the wake up moment was when we were at my husband's funeral and the family went to go look at my husband one more time. It was an open casket. And when the ushers closed the casket, my son began to wail. And that broke my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly I was unprepared for being a single parent and having to parent my child alone with a broken heart.
Yeah, I can almost feel my heart doing the same thing right now, just talking about it.
Right.
How do people get in touch with you for speaking? How do they get in touch with you for your blog, for your podcast? How do they buy your books?
Okay, they can go to drjerielwoodbridge.com. There is a pop-up that will happen when you go to the website to start looking at information about me. Just fill out that information. You'll become part of my email list, and I will send you updates and newsletters via that way. You can buy any of my books through Amazon, any kind of online, because these are all books that are print on demand. I did decide to self-publish this completely on my own, The Intersection, through JL Woodbridge Press. And so we are working with Ingram Sparks to hopefully get the books into the 40,000 bookstores that are worldwide.
Okay, so for our audio audience who'll be joining us later on this afternoon, Dr. Jerry, Jerry, Woodbridge, Woodbridge, Wood, just exactly as it says, .com, drjerrylwoodbridge.com. And Dr. Jerry, I really and truly appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
And I wish you the absolute best in your series, and more particularly on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. So welcome aboard, and I look forward to a nice, long, healthy journey with you. And maybe we'll bump into each other down the road. It will happen. We'll be back in touch with each other again. So Take care and have a wonderful day, and we'll catch you later on. Red Laughlin here. We're concluding the Corner Bookstore today on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. If you're watching our show today on YouTube and you're not a subscriber, we would really and truly appreciate you looking at the USA Global TV and Radio Network as one, but also the Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Both have the exact same shows on them, and we'd really love to have you subscribe. We're in over 60 countries. Some of the shows are in up to 27 different languages, and wonderful opportunity for anybody at all to share their information. My next show is called The Wise Ones. My last show today, I've already done 2, and talking more about AI today, probably more than anything else. I think it's the direction we're going in. But otherwise, I just finished a book called Aging Sucks. It's available on Amazon, and I have another one coming out very shortly. It's going to be called Pain Sucks, and I probably need to start marketing that one today. So Red Laughlin here, signing off, and enjoy, have fun, enjoy. Don't let anybody steal your joy. We'll catch you later. Bye now.
What if many of the problems we associate with aging are not random? What if there are identifiable causes behind declining energy, chronic disease, and memory problems? We have been told that aging is simply something we must accept, that slowing down is normal, that growing older means growing weaker. But what if that's only part of the story? Why do some people remain active and engaged well into their later years? Why do others struggle with disease, fatigue, and declining health? What is happening beneath the surface? What processes drive aging? In Aging Sucks, researcher, educator, and author Red Laughlin explores what researchers have discovered about why we grow older. No medical degree required, no confusing jargon, just clear explanations of what researchers have discovered about the processes that influence aging. You cannot stop aging, but understanding its causes may help you make better decisions about your health, your future, and your quality of life. Because understanding comes before action. Action creates hope. Aging sucks. End the guesswork. There is hope.
Every great story begins with a vision. At USA Global TV and Radio for years, we've been providing world-class education, entertainment, inspiration, imagination, connections, and hope. Most people don't stay to watch the outro or the credits, but it's the people behind every success, behind every breakthrough, and behind every unforgettable story who matter. The TV show hosts, our guests, our sponsors, our publicists, our production team, our distribution team, our search engine optimization team, and so many more. You're the ones who make the difference. Every great story belongs to the people who bring it to life. Our future looks bright at USA Global TV and Radio, and that's because of you, our loyal fan base all around the world in more than 60 countries. Together, we're making a difference because you matter. USA Global TV and Radio, live streaming to over 60 countries. Voiceover, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Video production and direction, Paul Garcia. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV and Radio on YouTube.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.